Hi guys, Black is here. And listen, I was talking to a YouTube fan of mine, right? And we was talking about a 4.3 V6 that came in a 1991 Safari van. It was a high output 4.3. It had 175 horsepower, okay? Anywho, I was telling him back in 95, I used to drive a transportation van, okay? A transportation van was, I was supposed to pick people up from their house and take them to the doctor, and only to the doctor. And I'm supposed to take them back to the original residence where I picked them up. Sometimes people want to be dropped off at the mall. Sometimes people want to drop off at their mama house or their baby mama house or their boyfriend house or a store, the dope man or whatever. Right? Okay, one day I picked up a girl, her and her boyfriend. I don't remember what the girl looked like. I wasn't paying attention to the girlfriend. The guy was tall, brown skin, about my height, brown skin. He had a big booty. All right, now this is back in 95. Back in 95, people used to wear these white Adidas, I think it was Adidas pants. If they wasn't Adidas, they was white jogging pants. They was thin nylon pants, and you could see through them. Usually whoever was wearing them, you could see their underwear. It was so thin. So he gets out the van. She got out first. He gets out the van. And like I said, he's kind of tall. So it was a Astro van. So he stooped over to get out the van. And all I see is booty when he get out the van. Now, I mean, he was a grown man. I mean, he was 18, 19 years old. He's grown. But he gets out and all I see is booty. I'm like, God. Okay, so a week or two later, I'm still thinking about him because he was cute, nice booty. I'm still thinking about him, right? So I'm driving my old 63 Pontiac Catalina, driving down the road, and I don't remember where I dropped him off, but I do remember I was driving down, I can't remember the name of the road. I know what the road is, I just can't remember the name of the road. Anyway, it's not important. So I see this guy walking with those same white pants on. I realized it was him. So I pull over into this shopping center and start talking to him. And I asked him, did he remember me? And I only remember him because one, he had a big booty and he had those same white pants on. I don't remember was it the same underwear or not. But anyway, so I asked him, did he remember me? He was like, no. And I told him that I was a transportation driver and I had picked him and his girlfriend up, and he said he remembered. And so I asked him, did he want to ride? And he looked at me like, why do you want to give me a ride? And I was telling him, I said, man, well, you got some pretty eyes. And basically I started talking to him as if I was a female, right? And he was like, man, are you gay? And I was like, yeah. I said, well, I like to mess around with men. Back in 95, I was bisexual back then. Yeah, I was bisexual. Anyway, he gets excited. And I can see in the front, he's excited. And the boy has something to work with, okay? He could not hide it. And he didn't want to get in the car with me, right? But he's standing there excited. And I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody that excited but didn't want to get in the car. And he did not want to get in the car. And I tried everything I could to get him in the car. He would not get in the car. And I'm like, damn, finally I think he gave me his number. I don't really remember, but he ended up, I couldn't get him in the car, so I ended up pulling off because, I mean, I was just torturing myself. I was like, God, I cannot believe this man was standing there as excited as he was, but he didn't want to get in the car with me. All right, that wasn't the only time I messed around with the guy doing transportation job. Also, now, I'm going to tell you something I did, okay? Again, I used to drive a van, pick up people from the doctor, okay? Grady was the main place, hospital we used to pick people up from. All right, because traffic was so bad, the police didn't want you standing nearby. I used to park around the corner in this parking lot, which was around the corner from Grady. And I would sit in the parking lot and wait until they called me on the two-way, and then I would take off like a bat out of hell around there to pick the person up. So one day I'm sitting there and I'm bored, and I think to myself, I'm just sitting here getting paid $5.25 an hour back in '95, and I'm thinking, I am horny. So I decided to pleasure myself, and this was the first time I'd ever pleasured myself at work. Yes, I reached the promised land. And right after I get a call, I went to pick up somebody. But I just had to say that. Now, I met a guy, I picked him up in a transportation van. His name was Deshaun. I don't remember his last name, but his first name was Deshaun. Dark-skinned guy, and I picked him up, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but he ended up giving me his phone number, or I gave him mine or whatever. One particular weekend, he called me. I didn't have a car. Well, I had a car, but I think I had sold my car because he ended up coming on the bus. So at that point, I must have sold my car. Otherwise, I would have went and picked him up. But anyway, he came to my house, and I did something I should not have done. And I never did this again, but I did at that time. I told him I was going to give him $50. But when we got to the house, I dropped it down to 25. So he was not very happy, but we ended up still messing around. What exactly did we do? We just watched one another pleasure ourselves. I think I created a vacuum upon him. I think I did. I can't really remember. But anyway, the guy was small. I mean, he was like a Ford Ranger type fella. So he left. Like I said, he was not too happy. I felt kind of bad, but I was horny, man. I wanted somebody to mess around with, right? But anyway, he ends up going back home, and he called me. Either I called him or he called me, but I never could get him to come back over the house again, right? Did I mess around with anybody else? Yeah, I picked up a gay guy one time named Warren. I think his name was Warren. I think his name was Warren. He and I messed around one time, and I think that's all I ever picked up. Oh, at that transportation job, I also met this girl named Dawn. She's from New York. She and I tried to date, and I realized she was freaking crazy. So I had to get away from her. Then she had badass kids also, so they got on my nerve. So I guess that's all I got to say on the subject. I guess that's all I got to say on the subject. I just had to tell. I was telling my fan about the guy with the white pants on. Talking about, the thing is, I used to stop and talk to guys all the time. And I used to say to myself, I honestly believe that, I used to say if a person would sit down and talk to me, I could get them to get in the car. I could get them to do something. But he was one of the ones that didn't. That was another night, I really don't remember the details, but I stopped and talked to a guy for about 20 minutes. Got him to show me his merchandise, but he could not get him to come to the house. But again, I was going to say this. I don't want to tell you I was dating a 53-year-old, well, not 50, 50-year-old guy I met at a gay club a few weeks ago. And we ended up breaking up because he wanted to touch me. I told him, quit touching me. I mean, I told him when I first met him that I wasn't into older men. I told him that, I didn't hide it, but he wanted to touch me, and I kept telling him, dude, don't touch me. So he finally decided, well, he didn't want to be around me no more. Whatever. But the thing I'm getting at is this. That's all, I try to hang out with guys my own age. But guys my own age, they want to touch me. And I don't want to be touched by a man my age. At least not a broke wrist man. Now, I sometimes wonder if the guy was straight would I mind being touched by them? It will probably be less gross. But the thing is, I don't know any straight guys that want to kick it with me. I don't, I try to go to gay clubs to meet guys, but all I keep getting is, well, actually, he was the only guy I met. I met a cook. We never did go out, though. The cook is a lot straighter, and the cook is 38 years old. The cook looked a lot less broke wrist than this guy I'm talking about. His name was Cordell. But the cook, I have his number. We text a little bit, but he don't seem like he want to go out anywhere. He don't seem like he want to go out nowhere. So there's nothing going on with that. Now, I went to Red Lobster last night on La Vista Road in 285, and I started talking to a truck driver. I don't know, he's 40, 45 years old. I didn't really ask him. He looks kind of mean, like he kind of like didn't want to be bothered, but we did talk. And everything was cool until he asked me about the Super Bowl. And I told him, dude, I'm not into sports. I don't care nothing about that crap. And after that, he didn't really have much to say to me the rest of the night, which, whatever. But anyway, that's all I got to say on this subject. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them. Dre, y'all have a good day. Bye.